The difference between Robert Downey Jr. and many actors is charisma. All of them are charming and charismatic on stage, but in day-to-day life, most actors are living off of the charisma they showed on screen. See, Robert Downey Jr. does not do that because he's charismatic both on the screen and in real life. So we're going to watch an interview of him with Chris Evans as they talk about the Avengers movie that just came out. And I'm going to reveal to you the 9 secrets to his $100 million charisma so that you as well can get more attention from people and get what you want even more easily. Now, right there, I wanted to notice how both of them entered the show. I'm going to show this to you one more time. But notice the difference, how Chris Evans enters the podium and how Robert Downey Jr. does the same thing. Because even though they just walk in the podium, they do it entirely differently. Chris Evans waves and looks entirely uninterested. He walks like audience is making him nervous. But Downey Jr., on the other hand, the charismatic guy here, he's like, I'm going to take all this in. I'm going to take as much time as I need, and I want to feel the audience. That's why he walks slow with self-confidence like he just saved the whole world. Now, charismatic people move at their own pace. They walk slow if they want to walk slow, and they walk fast if they want to walk fast. But if they're getting a ton of attention from the cheering audience, of course, they will take their time and enjoy the moment. Now, Downey Jr. knows he's incredibly charismatic, and he establishes that right away. Now that Downey Jr. enter like a movie star and they have both sat down, look at who is the start of the show. From the moment Downey entered the room, everyone's attention has been set on him because he literally stole the thunder from Chris Evans. Now on the screen, even Chris Evans and Jimmy Kimmel subconsciously accepted the frame that Downey is the start of the show, and they're looking at him to see what he's gonna do next. See, when you're the charismatic person in the room, everyone's attention is focused on you. Your actions matter. You can literally do or say whatever you want, and everyone will accept it and act to it. Now, Downey enjoys that power. But before we go from here, notice how Chris Evans and Jimmy Kimmel are looking at Downey right here. Look at that admiration and respect. But also, notice how Downey is seated here. You're probably sat on the end of a table, or have you ever been drinking with your friends and you were kind of on the outside, so you were feeling like you're not part of the conversation? Or you were kind of trying to participate in conversation, but then no one was paying close attention to what you were saying, and then you got in your head and you felt shitty the whole night? Well, look at how Downey Jr. is seated here. He might be on the outside, but he is actively participating in the conversation. If he hears a question he has a badass answer to, of course he's going to answer it no matter where he's sitting or who the question is intended for. Now, I want you to watch the next 20 seconds of the interview, and I want you to tell me who leads the conversation. Because, of course, Jimmy Kimmel asked the question, but which of the two actors is leading the conversation, and why?
You guys are very color coordinated here. I like that.
We texted beforehand.
Yeah, Tuesday is Navy.
I like that.
Robert Downey Jr. is so charismatic that whatever he says, people just love him for it. But this is so obvious that even Chris Evans feels it. So when Downey interrupts his sentence here, Evans stops talking and lets Downey finish it because even he feels Downey is simply better at it. Also, notice whom Chris Evans is looking at as he answers Jimmy Kimmel's question. It's Jimmy Kimmel's show, yet he looks at Downey. It's Jimmy Kimmel's question, yet he looks at Downey. You can see he wants Downey's approval just by looking at him. But why would he want Downey's approval? Well, because Downey is the most charismatic person in the room here. He's the start of the show here. Now, most people will not notice this because they do it subconsciously as well. But whenever Evan says something, he looks at Downey as he's asking for his approval. He's literally telling him, I'm a lower status guy than you, with his sub-communication. And I'm going to play this to you one more time, so watch how Evans looks at Downey for confirmation, but also try to notice the way Downey answers the question. He's using a famous technique many showmen used in the early 20th century, and it works nuts.
You guys are very color coordinated here. I like that.
We texted beforehand. We
Yeah, Tuesday's Navy.
I like that. I'm very happy you guys are here. We have many things oriented toward the movie to talk about. Well, first of all, where did you shoot this movie?
Hot Atlanta.
In Atlanta.
Yeah.
Lovely Atlanta, Georgia, yeah.
And was it, when you say hot Atlanta, was that because it's hot or
sticky?
just
Atlanta in July, so you're in the
It was beautiful. I don't know what you're talking about.
Basically, when an attractive man responds to a question, he's always going to say something funny, short, and kind of witty. And then, after that, he's going to give a real answer to the question. That's the famous technique. Now, Chris Evans doesn't do that. He straight up answers a question, he's boring, and there's zero playfulness in it. But when Downey answers the question, he's all into it. He's like, Atlanta in July? It was beautiful. I have no idea what you're talking about. And just because he's all into it when he's talking, notice how when Downey talks, everyone, including Chris Evans, laughs at his joke, but he doesn't. That's what charismatic people do. They make other people laugh, but they do not laugh at their own jokes themselves. So Downey made everyone in the room, including Evans, laugh, but he's not laughing himself. He's got that smirk. Now, on the other hand, whenever Chris Evans tries to joke, he does absolutely the worst possible thing. He A, laughs at his own jokes, and B, he looks at Downey as he's telling a joke like he's asking for his permission.
I was either in a lovely, sprawling rented home or an air-conditioned helicopter. I mean, I did see you on the tarmac doing action for 6 months. But you see, once the helmet closes, I'm not there.
You go home.
Now, Downey keeps piling up the jokes and everyone's cracking. He's charismatic, he's the source of good emotion, and he's literally owing the situation. Now, I'm going to fast forward like 15 seconds, so notice what happens next.
Should have thought of that.
I know. Believe me, every day you just wish he had that full
It is
mask.
brilliant. And by the way, I think about that all the time. Did you think about that before you agreed to do this movie? Or was that something that you realized along the way?
This movie?
Or before you did Iron Man, the first Iron Man movie?
Yeah, like I was thinking. It's the best thing that ever happened to me. I mean, it's just been a great job, and we've all made good friends and stuff. You know, you can clap.
Yeah, now you guys
Not only does Downey have a complete control over the situation with his millionaire friend, but he also tells the audience what to do. He literally tells them, you can clap now. And of course, everyone claps. Now, even Chris Evans claps because he's under the influence of Downey's charisma.
But to answer your question, you know, Evans is a very, very capable guy. I mean, you know, chicks dig him too. Very capable guy. I've saw a wild amount of action that you perform. I do a little. I got a couple moments.
You do. I've seen it.
But I really just wanted to come to set on my days off and watch you suffer.
Here, Downey's giving compliments to Evans, but notice how he ends it. He is literally using the push-pull technique on him. He's complimenting him. Actually, he's giving a series of compliments, but he doesn't end there. He ends with a joke. If he had complimented him and stopped right there, Evans would feel pressured to say thank you or compliment Downey back. But charismatic people never make other people feel pressured to do or say something. So that small tease or push at the end takes away all that pressure. It's the same with a girl. If you compliment her for something, like you tell her she looks so much like Kim Kardashian or some celebrity that she loves, you're pulling there. And she's expected to say something to that. Now, to remove the awkward silence, all you have to do is add a little push. You could say like, I've just mistaken him for Kim Kardashian. Dang, but don't worry. I'm not into brunettes. Removes all the pressure. She knows you're interested, but now it's fun, it's playful, and it's mysterious. Now, what Downey does here is called the dark side tease. It's basically complimenting someone, like making them feel special, but then ending with that egoistic twist at the end, such as saying, I wanted to compliment you, but I actually said this because I wanted to remind myself how amazing my life is. Or what Downey Jr. just said, I just wanted to see you suffer.
It's so tough. You work a lot more. Well, it is.
Yeah.
The movie title is Captain America. You should work more.
It's true. It's true. That's why it's hard to complain. You're on set and you're like, well, that's what these movies are. So you're just dripping.
It sounds like you're having a civil war with yourself, though.
I would have maybe chosen not Atlanta in July, but
it's fantastic. I have no recollection of it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Now again, Evans is insecure in his words. He slows down and starts rambling. So he just lets Downey take over the lead again. And no one really cares because Downey has already established himself as the charismatic person here. And everyone would rather listen to him than Chris Evans. Now, watch what happens next.
I heard a rumor, and please tell me if this is true, that you had your furniture from home shipped to Atlanta so you would have your own furniture while you were there.
Notice how Evans looks at Downey. It's like he's thinking, what do you have now, Mr. Popular? It's not that Evans wants Downey embarrassed, but he feels he's been in the background for the whole show, so he thinks Downey's gonna screw up there. But notice what Downey Jr. does to handle the sneaky grin.
I didn't do a thing. The moving company did.
He did.